지금부터 다국적 기업의 창조적 인재 육성이라는 주제로 두 번째 세션을 시작하겠습니다. 본 세션의 좌장은 이행희 한국코닝 대표이사 사장님께서 맡아주시도록 하겠습니다. 이행희 사장님 부탁드립니다.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to join these sessions as named Developing the Creative Talent in Multinational Companies. My name is Haeng-hui, who is leading the Koning in Korea. I was appointed to lead these sessions as a vice chairman of Korean CEOs Association of Multinational Corporations, we call KCMC. The KCMC is one of association of leaders in Korea. It is specialized with members of Korean CEOs who are leading the multinational companies in Korea. KCMC is doing a lot of work to contribute to Korean society as well as the other multinationals as a bridge role to transferring global standard experience and local knowledge. These partnerships for Global HR Forum is one of the way how we try to do sharing world leading companies' experience on developing creative, talented people. This session is actually focusing on what is the world-class multinational companies as a way to develop the creative, talented people for today and for the future. On a TV, one of advertisement took my attention. It was one of a Korean corporate advertisements saying that as many companies are investing in innovation and globalizations, but we think differently. We are investing in people who will lead the world in the future, the humanist asset, and the most important for our future. So if I'm not wrong, the company is working hard to lead the industry as global leader. Then let's think about what would be the way to have the asset, the most important asset for the futures, and to make growth in the rapidly changing environment, especially under the global recessions like now. These days, we do not have strict distinctions between the global and local, I think, but it's just working as a kind of one. Then how should we have a right persons who has creative talent for our future at the corporations? That is today's topic, and we need to discuss. I'm working for Koning since 1988. It is nothing but just 21 years experience at Koning, which is a 158 years old company as a specialized company for glass and ceramic area. Today also I invited the very busy persons who is leading the global company in Korea as a guest speaker and panel discussant. I would like to introduce the gentlemen. Mr. Hyo-jun Kim, the president of Accenture Korea. Hyo-jun Kim has started his career in Accenture, New York, right after graduation of the MBA course in University of Texas. He worked as a project leader, including information strategy for U.S. large companies and global government agencies. And he dispatched to Korea for project in Korea since 1998 and decided to keep his career in Korean practices. So actually, he had good experience with many Korean companies as well as Asian companies as a leader of Asia Pacific since 2002. And also he gave a very good advice 2 years ago to the president of the Korea president, is Mr. M.B. Lee, as he heard about Korean economy through the Accentures and especially Mr. Kim. So he will talk about, he will present about what is ideas to develop people to have powered organizations. Then next persons, who is Mr. Park. Mr. Hyo-jun Park is president of Haeng-hui. He studied education in Gyeongbok University and the master degrees also. And since 1975, he had a lot of experience in the other industry like Chase Manhattan Bank in Seoul and Tokyo, as well as working for the American Express Card. And since 1996, he began his career at the Amway and as a director of human resource. There's many important role at Amway, and then he became a president in Amway Korea since 2002. And next person is Mr. Dr. Sam-Hyo Lee. Sam-Hyo Lee started his careers in many other global food companies in the U.S. after graduate master degrees in Minnesota and then doctoral degrees from University of Wisconsin. In Nestlers, he was appointed to many important positions as VP in technology and general management and division and business management. But since 2002, he appointed the president of Nestle Korea, and he's doing a lot of work to develop the people in Korea. And the last person is the chairman, Jin Uk-jo, who is leading the BASF in Korea since 2006. His career is in chemical industry in 1978 and various experience at regional role in Asia Pacific, especially in China, and leading the joint ventures of BASF. And his career is pretty well defined. It's a lot of area, especially environment and people management. So we can hear his good opinion of his side also. So if you don't mind, I would like to ask Mr. Hee-jip Kim to share his very insightful experience and knowledge for us. It is quite exclusive and difficult to take the advice from such a man as Hee-jip Kim is tremendous as a consultant with his experience in Accenture. So I remember he has very good ideas about Koreans, development also. So let's write down if you have any questions, then ask him after all his presentations. So let's invite him with a big hand. Mr. Kim.
It is my great honor to make a speech here at a great environment, a beautiful setting with a great audience. Thank you very much for that. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to share some of the strategic directions in HR area of my company as a global company. We have operated in Korea about 22 years now. And myself also worked for Accenture for 21 years. Kind of coincidence with Ms. Lee that I started in 1988 Accenture. So since then, I worked for Accenture in many different places for 21 years now. I'm going to share what global HR strategic directions are needed for, especially for Asian companies, and how these HR policies can help the domestic companies to change their workforces, their talents, geared for global operation. And I think this is a big challenge for Korean companies and many Asian companies right now. Before I start my speech, let me introduce my company just 1 minute. Accenture is the largest business consulting company, and we providing services in business consulting area, technology consulting area, and also outsourcing. But also, as one of the global company, we have a presence in many different countries, about 46 countries, and we have 181,000 people employed globally. And actually, the interesting statistic is right now, Asia Pacific, Asia especially, has most employees of global Accenture. More than US, more than Europe. Asia, especially India, Philippines, China, all those Asian countries, actually we employ more people here rather than in Europe or US. I think that's very similar feature of many global multinational companies these days. My agenda will be, I will talk about all the global context, how HR should change itself, what context our businesses are in, and why we have to change. And after that, I will talk about how we can create a talent-powered organization, the organization that you can have the best resources for your global operation. And third, how we are going to manage and multiply those global talent. The world is changing rapidly, and as you have seen these days, especially with economic downturn, the financial crisis we are going through, there have been many changes. Economic power has been shifting from Western countries to Asia Pacific area. That's one big change. And another change is there's new industries also emerging, replacing the old energy industry. You can see right now the wind, photovoltaic, biofuel, smart grid, those new energy industries booming. And there's a lot of convergence of new industries. And Accenture, we did study for about 2 years, and we summarized the key aspects of global economic change with the following, the 5 points. And one of them is, if you see the right-hand side, bottom in the corner, you can see the battle for resources and sustainability. Now, we all looking for resources, and not only from your own country, you have to look for resources from the world. Otherwise, your company is not optimizing the best resources in the world. So that's one big change we are going through. And we actually, Accenture prepare some small video clip that you can watch together, that you can see the trend of business changes. I believe the video clip give you some hints and what business changes we are facing in the global world. And I think that one major theme there is the global economy is shifting from US, Europe side, a lot of shifting to multipolar world, to the many different emerging countries. So world is, in terms of economy, is getting diverse and is growing. And I think that's major theme. And that gave us a big challenge on HR side. One of the major change in business is the change of purchasing power. If you look at this chart, in 2005, you can see the G6 countries, the advanced countries right now, like US, UK, Japan, France, Germany. Those countries, their purchasing power is exceeding the new emerging market, like China, India, Brazil, Russia, Korea, and Mexico. That's the 6 countries we accentually define as the most emerging strategic countries for us. But if you look at 2025, within 20 years time period, the shift will be made, and the big 6, the new emerging countries, their purchasing power and their consumers will have more purchasing power than the current leading G6 countries. In terms of workforce, there will be a big change too. There are more graduates now in Asia and also emerging countries than the leading countries. If you see the workforce growth, Japan is not going to grow. And Russia, China, US, South Korea, Mexico, India, Brazil will be the countries will supply a lot of talent for the global market. And to have the successful global organization and operation, you need global talents. And these countries where you are going to find out the global talents in the future. Also, big change is innovation. Innovation is the fundamental base of the wealth and also the power in economic scene. And one of the big changes, a lot of innovation is now being made in Asia Pacific and also the emerging countries. China, India, Korea, Russia, Mexico, Brazil, Taiwan, Poland, those countries is getting more share of patents and new innovations, especially the areas we believe the future will depend on. So it's not just dominated by a few Western companies. Now global emerging market companies will also have bigger share on those innovations, and how we are going to capture those innovations, how we are going to support those innovations with global talent operation will be a big objective for the global HR personnel in our world here. The talent, especially the global talent, and smart, intelligent, productive global talent. This global talent is now being global, means that they don't reside in one country anymore. They are moving target. And also, typically, now you have global operation operating across many countries, and you should get the best global talents. Rather than just getting the resources from 1 or 2 countries, now, if you truly become a globally superb organization, you have to recruit and manage the talents from many countries, many diverse countries, and global talents. If you look at this chart, the science, technology, and engineering graduates, you can see that now Asia has about 45%. US is now making big push going back to manufacturing. With Obama president, they tried to make some efforts there. However, the challenge for them is how to get their engineers, new graduates in engineering degrees. And a lot of engineering degrees now, this is the area where we have. And the fight for these engineers will be fierce for the future industry. And if you look at the right side, the labor force growth, the growth rate, you can see that Philippines, India, Mexico, Vietnam, Brazil, China, South Korea, and Russia will be the countries who will have some growth, except Russia. However, Western countries or Japan, the current G6 countries, the leading advanced countries, they have very small or negative growth in terms of talents. Considering these all aspects, there are clear needs for global talent management. Some of those challenges we have is aging workforce. Our workforce is aging rapidly, and our talent pool is shrinking, and there's war out there for the global talent. And there's generational differences. The value is very different, very diverse. The new generation have different value system than us. And also cultural differences, because now you have to deal with not just only one or two or three countries, you have to deal with many countries with diverse cultural background and diverse ethnicity and diverse value systems. So therefore, there's a global war for talent, and talent is no longer a local, regional commodity. And new technologies and patterns of education are transforming the nature of work and the manner in which it is sourced globally. With the information technology right now, China, India, many countries who we believe are a bit behind. They are not behind at all. Their education system is excellent, and they have access to all those materials that only G6 country had before. Many education systems, they have branches in the region here. So the talents growing up in this region are equally equipped with the knowledge and skills and intelligence compared to their rivalries in other countries. In our company, we also have challenges. We have to manage very diverse people. For example, in Philippines, we allow gay and lesbian business communities. That's just unheard until 5 years ago. But now we have to allow those diverse interests, diverse organizations. In those, however, Accenture is trying to maintain the value system together. And whenever we make any decisions, we have to refer these 5 value systems we have, those 6 value systems. Stewardship, client value creation, respect for individual, best people, one global network, and integrity. As you can see, actually about 3 of them are directly related with people. Stewardship, raising your own people to try to make them to have a great value. Respect for individual and best people. So our core value is very centered around the talent, global talent, those areas. In Accenture, we also, just like many multinational companies, we are making serious efforts to have inclusion and diversity programs to support the people with diverse background. And actually those diverse people will bring creativity and also new ideas and new concepts to our organization. About 10 years ago, Accenture also trying to have very severe training program, try to make all the people in one format, one pattern. We still have some training program. However, our training program is now allow the diverse background. So they can bring their creativity and their diverse ideas to the businesses. And we're very proud that we are try to make in one of those, the top 50 companies for diversity. In terms of talent power organization, what are the things that we should do? I think this slide summarizes very obvious but very important steps that the changes we have to make. First, it requires new mindset. Sourcing work globally, not only domestic or some specific regional market. You have to source the talents globally. And nurturing all talent, not just star performers. I think some of the saying out there that you should focus the superstars and they will actually bring great wealth to your companies, but it requires a balanced view. You have to nurture all talent, and those talents will contribute the great value to your companies. So, a very strong balance that you have to maintain, nurturing all talent, not just star performers. The second change we need requires a shift in culture. Moving from managing talent to multiplying talent. Don't try to manage too much to make one format of people. You should allow diversity. And you should actually multiply those talents for future growth and future operation. And embracing diverse and differentiated workforces. Third, you require strong and visible leadership. Meaning that the leadership itself always stress the importance of global HR, the talent that you have to maintain, and putting the talent management at the center of the business strategy. In many businesses, after all, the performance depends on the people, how they work, how they manage, how they create value. And your future is also depending on what people you have, because they are the one who actually create the final results. Building a talent-powered organization requires some of the steps, and you can learn these steps from the textbook. And this is what Accenture defined as a textbook format of how to build a talent-powered organization. And there's 4 steps you have to do, obvious, but it has very details that you can have checklist, you can see the detailed steps that you have to follow. Let me go through just one page by page on each item. Define your talent needs. Define your talent needs in terms of mission-critical jobs and key workforce competencies, and in light of current and future strategic goals. In many cases, unfortunately, recruitment, training, people development, career development remains with the hands of HR executives. It should not be that way. The talent needs should be defined from business strategic perspective. What regional market you see the future growth? What products, what innovations your company will focus on in the future? Do you need many engineers? Do you need many researchers? Those aspects has to be defined at the strategy level and should be trickled down to the execution level. Discover your sources of talent. Rather than just relying on your traditional sources, you have to make effort to find out the new sources of talent through diverse talent pools, novel options for accessing the talent, and varied employee value propositions. You have to allow you have to go for many different great education areas, many different countries for the global talents. Develop your talent potential. Develop your talent's full potential by building skills, knowledge, competencies in ways that enhance individual and collective capabilities. And many companies have those. However, now you have to update or enhance them from global HR perspective. It should have global ingredient in it. You should allow diverse. You should allow very different the needs they have. Deploy your talent, right place, right time, which has been always been a challenge of HR. But I think it's critical now in the global scene. You have to make extra effort. That this is very important, and also you are making visible efforts to deploy the right people in the right spot. Global talent management, especially for Asian companies who like to be global, who like to expand their global businesses, some of the very practical, the field level advices we give are kind of summarized in 2 or 3 pages now. The Japan model. Japan tried globalization for last 20, 30 years and not successful, except a few cases. But most Japanese companies, we believe, they fail in terms of globalization. And one of the reasons they're suffering now is because they didn't succeed in globalization. If Japan succeeded in globalization with their technical strengths and industrial strengths, especially in 1980s and 90s, the economic scene has been very different now. The Asian companies, China, India, Korea, the followers, have to learn from them, have to take new courses of actions, and must find ways to succeed in globalization. From an HR perspective, the local companies or the field model, normally they have headquarters and branches in other countries, which is not the right model. I think as soon as you become a global company, you should have offices in many countries. They are equal. They're all offices contributing to your organization. Local language communication versus global common language communication. If you look at the European multinationals, even though they are based in Germany, they are from Netherlands and other countries, now the official language is English. That's how you can be a global organization. Language is not everything. I think communication actually have more than just language. It has culture. It has performance-oriented value systems. All those, you have to make a common, global, common communication system. Local-oriented values versus diversity awareness. Many global companies and Korean, Asian domestic companies now will have very soon they have more global employees than domestic employees. That's a big change. That means that they have to change a lot of different HR policies. And they have to change their view from domestic-oriented to global operating view. It's not just Asia company going global. It's actually from the global perspective, you see the world. Don't see world from Asia Pacific world to the global. You have to see the whole picture in the global context. Korean companies should take some of the fundamental approaches, and also Asia Pacific companies like China, India, or ASEAN companies to be a global companies. And the recruitment and posting, regardless of nationality for recruitment and posting. And sourcing should be very aggressive global, and also using the outsourcing model. And global standard payment systems based on performance. And also from centralized HR decision making to succession planning, office own HR decision making, and those global best practices you have to move on. And the Asia Pacific companies who like to be global are also, they have to resolve the issues they have. These are the typical issues that we are being asked from the client to resolve to become truly global companies. And in Korea, like POSCO, now they're going to build a big mill in India and Vietnam, which will be bigger than Korea. And they're now opening factories in Mexico, China, Samsung Electronics, LG Electronics, they're all gone global already. But many other Korean companies are now taking the global expansion route. And they have to resolve these issues. There's no one solution for that. Depending on your phases and your situation, some might be still in export mode. Some might be international, some might be multinational, but someone might be in global stage. In those stages, but you have to make efforts to have your global HR system aligned with it. Strategic direction for global HR operation. Number one, formulate global HR strategy aligned with global business strategy. This means that your global HR has to be aligned with your business strategy. Which region, which area, which innovation, what future you like to have has to be aligned with your HR policy. And focus on business results, not just efficiency. And many cases in HR pressed on efficiency, forgetting about the business results. Having the right people, developing the right talent will have great business impact. So you have to keep those principles alive to give the final value to your organization. And break from a headquarter-oriented mindset. Well, some of the Japanese and still some of the Korean companies, if you ask the people working in US or in China, the nationals over there, they're saying all the decisions are being made by Koreans or Japanese. In that case, you will never recruit the best resources from China or US. They like to be part of the management decision process. They like to be part of the fast track. They have the same desire. So the Japanese, Korean, those companies should consider how to recruit the best resources of those countries. To do that, it's not just recruiting effort. It is actually, you have to have the right career development track for those global talents. Global best practice, HR governance and capability, how you are going to balance between headquarters or some of the major offices in other regions, how you're going to balance, how much delegation you're going to give for each regional, each country. Global best practice policy and monitoring. Try to share the global best practices together so you can have much better progresses every year as a global organization. Every company is actually on its journey, and there's no one good solution. You can learn from someone else, but it's actually you who has to implement it and sustain it, and it should be in your own way. So, sharing global best practice, implementing them, and own it, and have the right change management is the key. Synergy with integrated HR infrastructure. However, transparent and common infrastructure is also the core of HR. That way, even though you allow autonomy in many different regions and many different countries, however, globally, those information should be transparent and shared and discussed. To have those, you can have one global HR infrastructure will enable you to have the transparent and information sharing communication systems. Those are the key strategic HR directions for global talent. And with that, this is my presentation today. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. As Mr. Kim said, he pointed to many other things. One is world is changing. The power is shifting from the US and Europe to the world polars like emerging countries. So it is make more difficult in the HR side to have real talented persons in the right place and right time. And respect individuals. There's very interesting information. Accenture's allowed the club for gay and lesbians, which is very new to me. And very diversified training programs which Accenture has. That's very good information to know. And he gave certain kind of 4-step for talent-powered organization requires, like defining what we need and what discover your resource and what would be the development area and how deployed the people as for that in the right time and right place, which is very good. And also he mentioned about globalizations, how HR support for globalizations from the local company. So HR strategy should be aligned with the business strategy for globalizations, which is very important factor, I think. So I think you have some questions, but just write down now. And I just want to transfer the microphone to the Mr. Park, who is president of Haeng-hui Korea. Just let's get some information from him. What Haeng-hui Korea is doing is to develop the people in Korea. Mr. Park.
Okay, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to and very honored to share my thoughts and what we are doing in Haeng-hui Korea. And again, I mean, thank you for Mr. Kim, the President Kim, to set the guiding principles and then to be a global the company and then what is the role of the HR. Today, which I am interesting to share with you is not just the academic thoughts and just the kind of the sharing my experience with you. Mr. Kim was talking about like in order to be the talent management, first we have to define the talent needs. And second is the discover your own source of the talent. For that sense, I think that I have to talk about a little bit about the MA Korea. What kind of the talent needs are in here. So, okay. Okay, MA Korea is the company for the distribution company, but sometimes it's difficult to define whether this is a distribution company or the opportunity or the network marketing company. But the reason is that we are managing about 450 different kinds of the good quality product was manufactured by us and distributed through the very special the network channels on it. So this is one of the world's largest direct selling company, which has about 50 years the history, and then we also have the few brands we owned on it. In many cases, people think that we are just simply selling the soaps, but it's not true. I mean, the majority of the selling is coming from the nutrition the business. The Nutrilite, one of the best selling, world best selling, the vitamin and mineral the nutrition the brand is the Nutrilite. I mean, you may be seeing some of the TV advertisement on that. The nutrition business is covering about 45%, and the sales volume is about 300 billion won, which is one of the leading the nutrition in the MA Korea as well as in the world. And based upon Euromonitor, we are the #1 best seller in the vitamin and the minerals. For that sense, I think that what do we need as a talent? Our talent, what we need is a bioscientist in some sense, in order to lead or to sustain the leadership positions in the nutrition business. We need the bioscientists on that. So that is our need to have our core competencies more strong on these positions on it. So second step is how to recruit this kind of the well-trained and the well-qualified bioscientists, which we will invent the new eras on that. So what is the best way to do it? I think that there are many ways to do it. Majority case is the very common ways to deal with it is searching for through the placing the ad to have such a talented needs, and then we will have interviews on it. But that is a very conventional way to do it. But if you're looking at the other way, and then is there any ways to have the more the creative way or the fundamental to have it? Majority of the case is kind of the fishing the well-trained talents. But when you look at this one, as I'm trying to simulate about our thoughts and from seed to product. The reason why we are having the best vitamin selling in this the competitive market is because we are owning the processes from the seed to the product, so vertical integrations. In order to have the best quality of the natural ingredients for the vitamin and the minerals, we have to cultivate our soils first. For the organic farming, we own the farm, and the seeding as well as the manufacturing the product. We own all the processes in order to control our quality. In some sense, the talent sourcing is very similar to these processes in some sense. In order to have the right person, well-trained or well-qualified the bioscientist who can work for the global companies, there are many ways we may have sourcing from the market. But we are not trying to, one of our initiative which we are taking is trying to find the other ways, kind of from seed to the products on there. What is it? I mean, from seeding, what is the seeding to that? In order to have that kind of we are trying to work with the Ewha universities with the name of the Braun Korea 21 the project. The major reasons or the major objective of this one is as part of the Braun Korea 21 project is we are trying to develop well-talented Korean bioscientists in a strategy to win strategies by developing. By having this one, I think that our ultimate goal is, as a company, we can secure or we can have the well-trained or well-qualified or well-customized the talents pools to be made. And second, as a school academic cases, it can provide the opportunities for the students, graduate student or undergraduate student cases. They can have an opportunity to learn about the professional knowledges through the well-trained scientists, as well as they have an opportunity to work at the global companies. And third is for the career-wise, I think through this type of the collaboration exercises, we can the career brand values for the bioscience area can raising the positions in a global competitions on it. So that is one of the reasons why we are going to why we go to the universities with the universities. The process is the lecturing is one of the area. After that, they will have an internship with us. And the third is they will also join the project. And then of course, the students can accredit about the 3 points on that. So after that, they can be becoming our pools to utilize about it. So let me just briefly explain about the curriculums. The curriculum is the 1 year the curriculum. And attendance is the graduate school is the major, the doctoral courses also included in there. And the number of the lecture is about 10 lectures is coming from it. After that is who is the instructor? Instructor is the MA Korea as well as the MA Global, the scientists that will come to Korea and then they conduct the lectures on it. They are well known in the nutrition business, well known in the worldwide. And after that, and then we will invite them to the internship to the MA Korea as well as the MA Global, which is our headquarters is in research rep is in the Michigan state. So they will come over to our lab and then they will have interactions with the scientists on that. Then finally, they will come to us and then they will join the projects with the MA Korea, the research rep people, with the global team, and the students will join to do that. Through this type of the exercise or through this type of the initiative, the students can learn about what the global the company needs, and then whether there is they can have the benchmarking against what they learned at the school, and then whether they can really deploy to the real world on it in order to compete in the global markets on it. So as in a summary, just we are not trying to fishing already established or already well-trained the talents, but we are trying to farming the talents, which means that we are trying to nurturing and developing the people which we can utilize for both the academic area as well as the industries and that. So I just limited to our one of the ways to recruit. Okay, thank you for the listening. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Park. I'm very impressed as they are seeding the people also, not just the farming. As seeding the people and then make the real product to use in bioscience area, which is really important And next one is transferred to Dr. Lee. Is from the Nestle. So let's hear how they played in talent management in Nestle and globally. Mr. Lee.
Good morning. I want to introduce Nestle's effort in developing the creative talent. I have a few slides. Nestle's individual evaluation is two-pronged approach. One is obviously for results or quantitative performance, and the other is qualitative individual evaluation. We do this evaluation every 6 months. So you see Nestle call this as Nestle Leadership Framework, evaluating individuals from how this person show leadership to cooperate with others, but also talking about innovation and renovation. So we put a lot of emphasis in developing employees who can think out of a box. And I think Mr. Kim of Accenture talked about integrating this kind of a practice into daily work. Especially Koreans grew up in Confucius culture, and we are trained to listen and follow rather than valuing thinking out of a box. So this will be a special challenge for Korean employees. And developing Korean employees into global talent is a special challenge. So I like to say a few things about how to get recognition in a foreign company or a multinational company. First, no question, you needed to do hard work and deliver your results. But also, from my observation at Nestle Korea, our local employees tend to attend the meetings to listen, to learn something, not much in participating and adding value to the discussion. And this is a huge cultural challenge. So I make a great effort in developing our employees to actively participate in meetings, raise questions, which is not into Korean mindset, and talk more logically rather than on emotional level. So this is how to have a productive meeting is a big challenge in Korea. Another one is, I believe, also presentation. You don't have many opportunities to make a presentation to higher up senior level managers. Maybe if you can do that once a month, actually you are fortunate, but otherwise you may do it once every 6 months or once a year. So this is a rare opportunity to show your value. So we needed to prepare this presentation in a very special way. So think about what messages you want to deliver, and also more analytical way, and also prepare for answering questions. Many times, I notice our employees are so busy in preparing your talk. You never think about how audience would see your presentation and how to handle questions. So this is a major challenge, how to convert our local talent into global talent. I know our employees attend many international workshops. It's a very interesting scene. If you look at international workshop that is attended by Americans, Italians, Koreans, and Indians, and others, see who talks, who does not talk. And very frequently, unfortunately, Korean employee does not say a word and leave the workshop. Now, did you impress anybody? So we needed to prepare even ourselves how to attend the workshop. What are we going to learn? How are we going to turn this into our practice? What should be my questions? I think these things are special challenge for Korean employees. So this is a little bit about my experience in developing the creative talent. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. As he's mentioned about what is the real requirement in the out-of-box thinking, which is quite important for innovative company like Nestle as well as like Corning. And also he mentioned about nature things of Koreans employees, how they should improve to be a global players. This is very based on his experience in Korea as well as in United States, I think. So let's turn out to the Mr. Joe. It's talking about BASF.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So I would like to introduce the BASF talent management system to you today. Actually, we have a globally one package system. Mr. Hee-ji Kim, he gave us a hint that we need to have autonomy and plus global transparency. BASF is one of the company who follow this principle very well. So some of you are not familiar with BASF, so to have a better understanding on the HR system, I need to inform you about who is BASF. So BASF is world's leading chemical company, and our portfolio ranges from chemicals, plastics, and performance products to agricultural products, fine chemicals, as well as oil and gas. BASF has more than 96,000 employees, and in the year 2008, recorded sales of more than 60 billion euros, and income from earnings slightly over than 10% of 6,463 million euros. BASF aimed to constantly increase the value of company by growing profitably. With high-value product and intelligent solutions, innovations, and new technologies, we open up new market opportunities for ourselves and our customers. We believe that economic success should be followed by social responsibility and environment protection. We try to contribute in finding answers for global challenges, as indicated by Chancellor Schroeder yesterday, such as climate change, energy efficiency, nutrition, and mobility. We believe that our contributions will help creating better environment for the generations to come. Now, I would like to introduce how BASF talent management works. It is composed of 3 steps of measures. First, identify, and then develop and realize our talents. We do this different level of positions, including executives, management, and young talent, as you can see, left column. BSF has unique structures to identify and nurture talent, which I will now explain. The terms that I used here are also used in BSF offices globally. First one is executive candidates, the highest cluster, local regional management position. The German headquarters handles senior level talents through its own team named GHRF. The executive candidates who are confirmed by German headquarters go through tight screening by Asian Forum as well as local office. Then they are provided with development programs, including local, regional, and global training curriculums, followed by 360-degree feedback along with mentorship. In order to provide the talent with more scientific development programs and objective feedback, we established a development center, which is very much similar to assessment center that many other companies are operating. Here we evaluate their competencies based on BSF criteria. If they demonstrate excellent capability in development center, they are offered upper level or at least lateral jobs in due course and given opportunities to work in other BSF companies in other countries to further cultivate management capabilities as well as gain more experience globally. We call this delegation. The last one, second one is Apple for the management position. Apple means Asia Pacific Programs for Leadership Excellence. It's only for talents in Asia. Asia Pacific HR talent team manages and handles all Apple procedures until candidate reach a certain final Apple position, so-called in our company Asia Pacific Level 7. To support this program, we have a talent forum in which countries' senior experts of supply chain, financing and accounting and technical area can discuss and review new talent information, possible open jobs in the region, and even the career development plan. This forum is held once a year. To develop more talents internally, we update succession planning locally and yearly, and also nominate candidates for each level throughout the year. Apple is the primary talent pool that we use to assess and select delegate candidates in Asia. Presently, Korea has more than 40 delegates over Asia, Europe, and the United States. Once talents are identified and on the development stage, it is possible to reach the realized stage at a faster speed, depending on their level of performance, potential, mobility, and language proficiency. Those with high assessment results can be matched with positions available in the region faster. Last one is new graduate pool, fast track for young talents. This program is to identify and develop recent graduate only locally. Graduates receive 1 or 2 years of long training, and those who perform well will be selected as potential talent candidate to be assigned for the full-time positions or to join the project. To conclude, let me recap essential part of the talent management at BASF. We try to seek for potential talent at a very early stage in the region, and then next develop phase, BASF provides talent with various substantial development programs which will help them further strengthen management skills, knowledge, along with opportunities to experience new positions, sometimes even in different countries. Leadership Edge is the Asia Pacific training and development curriculum. In the final stage, so-called realize, We help our talent become leaders of target positions by supporting them fully cultivate their potential and competencies. As you can see, BASF has been working hard to systemize selecting and developing talent processes to invite capable leaders to the leading chemical company. It is the method not only to help the company further prosper, but also to help the talents to mature professionally in the business world. I hope you enjoyed learning about BASF talent management. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Zhou. Actually, it is really good information to know. There's 3 steps as defined, early stage defined, and then moving to the developing and the realized, and then next step and defined in the 3-way, local pool, and then regional pool, and then global pool. So which is great, as well organized and the structures as for people development, I think. Okay, then we all share the informations now, and then we hope to chat as what kind of things, what you think and what you need more to know to the Mr. Kim and Mr. Park, Dr. Lee and Mr. Zhou. So if you have anything since Mr. Kim has in comment for 3 companies who is world leading companies in the industry, it is good, or any other persons who raise up question to Mr. Kim's presentations. Okay, Mr. Zhou.
Yeah, in my experience, the BASF is very much a transparent company. So most of our employees are well understood about the company program, and they follow if they join voluntarily to the BASF organization. But on the other hand, recently we have lots of merger and acquisitions. So the talent who already educated and trained in the other organization, they join to our organization all of a sudden. So Mr. Hee-jip Kim, do you have any experience how to make it moderate and include this new talent mixed with our existing talent?
Okay. We call post-merger integration process after M&A is being done to integrate 2 different organizations into one. There are several tactics you can actually learn, you can actually borrow to use them. And normally the approach we're using is it takes about an year process, and it takes several activities that you can take. In many cases, you're not taking the serious one big bang approach. In many cases, it's recommended respecting each other's culture, each other's HR policy and systems, taking some phased approaches and combined approaches. And I think the challenges is now many Asia-Pacific companies, they're making cross-border M&As, especially in US, Canada, Europe, and also other part of the world. Recently, I'm very honored to participate in due diligence of Korea National Oil Corporation's purchase of Harvest for about $3.9 billion. That's Canadian oil company. And one of the big tasks of the due diligence is, after M&A is done, how we are going to manage this company, integrate together with Korea National Corporation. They have a great engineers, they have a great HR system and great people. And you don't want to lose those talented engineers after M&A is done. So actually when you do M&A, it's hard still. I mean, buying M&A, doing M&A successfully is very difficult. But also after M&A is done, integrating 2 companies into one, have a better synergy, and keeping all the good talents is even harder task. So you have to plan early and prepare several steps to make sure that you're going to keep those talents and also keep those synergies much bigger than what you used to have. I hope I answered your question for that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kim. And before, as our time is almost So before closing, that I think is the audience might have some questions. I think so. Just a quick questions, briefly explained about yourself, and also you point to whom would be the persons for the questions. Okay. So microphone here.
Hello, my name is Min-Sop Kim. I'm studying final year student at the MBA at the Jungang University, also doing dual at the Fudan University in China. I totally agree with your how much important the creative the people is at the MNC as a globalization. But also I believe there are many high educated people and then creative talented people in Korea. However, from my perspective and also from the student perspective, we have a limited information to looking for job opportunities, such as multinational companies. So, for example, like your company, yours for companies, are you looking for new employees from Korea? Also, if so, how can you find them, and then what is your offer or talent brand for such a creative talent candidate? Thank you.
Who you want to ask?
Actually, I want to listen from all guys, but could you start from Mr. Kim? Thank you.
he really want to.
I'm the first one. Yes, we're looking for good talents in Korea. As you said, we believe there are many good, smart, intelligent talents in Korea. What we do, actually, we conduct several campus recruiting for the new graduates. And also for diversity program also, we actually recruit from Beijing University in China. And also we do the global MBA hiring program. So we actually have some tour for top management schools in US, hosting dinner together with the MBAs and sharing their view and having discussion on the career developments, all those. Our recruiting process normally it's just ongoing basis as we grow pretty much month by month. But also we have very official once a year campus recruiting. That's actually happening around September, October time frame. We just had it for this year.
Yeah, I ditto the President Kim. We also have a very strong interest to recruit really well the qualified as well as the innovative to work for the global companies. Our recruiting process is the same as Mr. Kim. We are ongoing, and then this is not only for the working for the Korea, but also for the headquarters or other the countries can be the candidate for that. Okay.
I think one difference between multinational companies and large local corporations, Mr. Kim mentioned, typically multinational companies' hiring schedule is ongoing process, not like Samsung hiring, I don't know, hiring in January 3,000 employees. We do it almost every month, depends on need from different field. So you might not see a big bang approach. So maybe that's one reason it's less noticeable. So you gotta be really diligent every month.
Good news for you is tomorrow, if you go to the COEX, there will be big recruiting exhibition, so we are one of the participants. Yeah, it is true that especially in chemical industry, Korea is matured market. So during last 5-10 years, 3 to 5 years, exactly speaking, BASF couldn't recruit many employees in Korea. But we need a huge number of employees in China and also in Malaysia and South Asian countries. So one thing, interesting information for you, I have 5 Korean employees in BASF Malaysia who entered to BASF Malaysia in Malaysia. So one hand, you can use internet website, and on the other hand, also you can look for recruiting in other countries. So you can apply yourself in growing market. At the end, if you are successful, you will meet in the top. Yeah.
Okay, I hope that's the proper answers for your questions. So you can go to the COEX tomorrow. Okay, it's time is almost there. So you might have some more questions, but I would like to share the more information as much as possible because they all is world-leading company in the world. So share their experience and also knowledge to you. And if you have any more questions, then you can send email. Then we can answer for that. I really appreciate you joining these sessions, and especially I appreciate Dr. Sir from KCMC chairman. So he came here and we are very honorable to share that information to all of you. Thank you so much.